High up there with the heavy hitters like malaria, among other diseases that may not be very obvious to you and I, and that is because it impacts the general population that comprises you and I once again, and the estimates are at between 2% to 7%, making it even higher when it comes to people living with HIV and hypertension, putting the percentage at 15%. It also makes it a bit harder to get a quick solution because individuals report to the hospitals when it's already very, very advanced in stage, and that is the reason as to why it is very difficult to find a solution. But not all hope is lost, because we have an expert today in studio, and we shall be talking about the causes, prevention, the manifestations, and why kidney disease is high up there amongst the 10 top killers in Uganda. I am Viola Sassia. A very good morning to you, and you are welcome to NTV Medical Matters, supported by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Hello there, you are watching NTV Medical Matters, a show supported by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. I am Viola Sassia. Today we are visiting Mr. Mutebi Derek, who is living with kidney disease. Kidney disease is where the kidneys are not able to filter excessive fluids as well as waste from the blood. And Mr. Mutebi has been on dialysis for the past 15 years. Dialysis is a treatment where one is attached to a machine in order to filter out excessive fluid as well as waste in a place where the kidneys have failed to do their job. So come with us, let's go speak to Mr. Mutebi. Mr. Mutebi, it's really nice to meet you, and thank you so much for giving us time to speak with us about your condition. Please tell me about your life before you were diagnosed with kidney disease.
Well, my previous life involved me doing so many things. As on top of doing my marketing work, I used to like traveling, like reading books, getting new places, seeing new places, and just laying back and having fun. Yeah.
And so during that time, what exactly changed from your daily life or from how you felt naturally that prompted you to go for a checkup?
Well, I started getting weird swellings. My face I woke up one day, my face is swollen one side. Then at that time I used to have very severe headaches. But when it reached my stomach, I started getting severe non-stop pains. That really made me very, very uncomfortable. I was really very uncomfortable till I came back home. Started taking painkillers. So when the painkillers didn't work, I went to Rubaga Hospital, where they diagnosed my problem, end-stage kidney failure. That was in 2011.
So, Mr. Mutebi, upon your arrival at the hospital, what are some of the tests that were carried out?
They did blood work. They did some X-rays and scans, stomach scans. So it was done the next day. They told me that my kidneys had shrunk to at least 2 millimeters, and I had to be rushed. I had to be referred to Mulago. Yeah, and then so we went to Mulago. So Dr. Yoku, who counseled us very well, and that night I started dialysis.
I'm interested in understanding, did both of your kidneys fail at once?
Yes.
They did?
Yes, they did.
I'm prompted to ask you, what could the doctor have said about perhaps your lifestyle that might have created the disease?
It's just that I didn't watch my pressures. I didn't understand what was happening in my body. And I think because I didn't do regular checkups, I took things for granted. Let me put it that way. Because for each pain that came in, let me take diclofenac, let me take headaches. Then the pain goes, most especially the headaches. But the pressures remained were high, and I couldn't feel them. So then they prompted the kidneys to go haywire.
Okay, now tell us about the dialysis that you go for every week. What is the process like, and what do you experience during this process?
Well, I go for dialysis 2 times a week. And before dialysis, I'm very uncomfortable. I sometimes get diarrhea, body weakness, poor eyesight, dizziness, But after dialysis, at least you get a semblance of life. You feel much better. Though after dialysis, during dialysis, sometimes if you don't eat well, if you find that you're not eating well, it affects the way you react. But if you eat well on dialysis, after dialysis, things are okay.
Thank you very much for that explanation. I'm beginning to believe that it's really, really uncomfortable before dialysis. So you mentioned something about extreme pain. So what is your worst case scenario that you've ever experienced before dialysis?
Yeah, you do. And sometimes you feel weird stomach pains, body aches, sometimes even swelling of the stomach, the legs. But after dialysis, it all goes away.
What has been your worst case scenario or case that you've experienced before dialysis?
A bloated stomach. Yes, my stomach used to swell, and it really caused a problem. I used to fear going through people because my stomach was very extended. So at least it was that problem persisted for around 3 years. But then slowly by slowly it went down, with good feeding, and it went away completely. So now I watch what I eat.
So speaking about what you eat, give us a brief about your diet. What does it comprise?
Well, so much changed. Fruits are minimized to maybe apples, watermelon, starch. There's some starches. You eat a raw, of course, starch. There's some proteins you don't take. Meats, you have to minimize your meat intake. Water intake, you have to minimize completely. That's water intake is the main problem because the kidney is not producing urine, so the water retention is high in the body. So when you fail you take a lot of water before dialysis, then the water is retained in the body. So it actually makes you find yourself swelling in weird places. Yeah. So slow intake of water. If you need to take water, maybe it should be ice cold. So because you sip a little, you don't gulp a lot. Yeah, the foods, beans, they didn't change. They changed completely, but you have to take it as medicine because whether you don't like it, you have to take it. Because sometimes when you feel you don't have appetite, but then you have to eat.
For a little bit of detail, please tell us about the regulation on water intake. I understand there are hot days and equally cold days, but how do you manage to sustain that regulation even though you might crave more water?
Because the water, you have to take minimum water because when you take a lot of water, it is retained. And of course, there's still this urge of water. But you have to be disciplined, let me put it that way.
Just thinking about it right now.
So that's why I maintain a freezer and I take very cold water. So I take a few 3-4 sips, then the thirst goes away for some time. And when it comes back, but it usually happens when the weather is hot, when it's hot. That's when I like to take water. And when I move a lot when it's hot, that's why I regulate my movements when it's hot, when the weather is hot.
Mr. Mtebi, it's really been a long journey and I understand you need a donor. So what does the process entail? And just for detail, do you have any potential donors at the moment?
Well, the donor has to be of a perfect health, 100%. No disease, very perfect, which is very difficult now in Uganda, let me put it that way. Because I tried getting a donor. One of my siblings was in stage 1, kidney failure, but it was treated. My other one was developing kidney stones and also treated. So right now where I am, I don't have any donor. Yeah. So but if I was maybe outside countries, maybe it's abroad, maybe I'll be on the donor list and I wouldn't be like this. Yeah, but here because of regulations, you just can't get anybody to donate for you. You must be a sibling from your mother's side, strictly from your mother's side. Yeah. Well, the DNA is a perfect match, very perfect match. Unlike them, because they don't like using maybe your stepbrothers or what, because the mother would have weird DNA. So they have to, your DNA must be from your mother's side, not from your father's side. That's where the problem comes in.
So, as we wind up, how has your life been impacted since the diagnosis? What are some of the things you're still able to do and those that you have completely failed to do? And how does that make you feel?
Basically now I work less because I can't work every day. And even though I work, I can't do much. So I resorted to delegation. I delegate what I need to do to other people. And sometimes they don't do the services as you want to. And that, of course, made me realize that there's nothing much I can do. So I do things that I can supervise and know that I can get back slowly by slowly. Because right now I have a piggery project, it's not here. And at least that's what I'm looking at in the future.
So on a day when you do work out here, like in the compound, or cook your own meals and other things like that, how easily is it for you to feel very tired and ill since you don't take enough water?
Well, I do it in short spans.
Oh.
And the meals are simple. I actually do it in short spans. Okay. I don't take a lot of time. I feel tired, I rest.
Yes.
I don't stress myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really nice. It's really been a pleasure indeed giving us your time to understand kidney disease. So please, one last message for Ugandans and especially for someone that might have this condition. What can they do to stay positive and hopeful so that they don't just give up on life?
I would urge all of you Ugandans to check yourselves at least once a year. If you have insurance, check yourself. Any small slight pain, go to the doctor, get diagnosed. That way you'll nip the problem in the bud. That's one thing I didn't do, and I'm living an example.
You just watched a very emotional story from Derek Mutebi, who has lived with kidney disease for 15 years, and 11 of those he's been on dialysis. At least he still has hope, but I can't say that for everybody out there, and this is why we are here to understand kidney disease. I am Viola Sasia. Once again, you're welcome in the NTV Medical Matters, supported by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And now in studio, I have Dr. Robert Kaliyesubula, who is a consultant nephrologist and head of physiology department at Makerere University. Dr. Robert, you are welcome. It's really a pleasure to have you. Let's just start off with the elephant in the room. What is kidney disease?
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here today. So kidney disease is a disease where the kidneys fail to work. So you can't define kidney disease without talking about what it does. So the kidney is important in ensuring that it removes toxins from the body. The body produces toxins after everything you do, when you eat food, when you do what. Those toxins somehow have to come out of the body, and the kidney does that job. By the time you get urine, most of those toxins are out. The other function of the kidney is to balance the water in your body system. Physiologically, a human being is made up of 60 to 70% water. So you understand what the kidney has to do. It balances the water. Kidney also balances minerals in your body, the calcium, potassium, those salts in your body. And the kidney is a very important part of producing blood. So when the kidney fails, you see people beginning to get problems in those directions. They don't produce enough urine, their bodies get swollen. So once they reach that stage, then they have reached kidney failure. But from the outset, I should tell you that kidney disease is very tricky because it doesn't show symptoms. until very late.
You know what, doctor, you're scaring me, because I mean, each of us has had maybe a case where you travel so long and then you have swollen hands or swollen feet. So I just really want to capture that well, and I guess our viewers, what are some of the obvious signs that we should look out for?
So the obvious signs are body swelling. If your feet swell in the morning, and if your face, you wake up in the morning and it is swollen.
What if I have allergy?
It could be other things,
okay.
But you see, there is what we call kidney disease and kidney failure.
Oh.
The fact that I should tell you that 90% of people with kidney disease have no symptom.
What?
That's why it is deadly. If it was like malaria, I would rush to hospital.
Yes.
So actually how we diagnose kidney disease is not by looking at you. We diagnose kidney disease by doing two tests. We look at your blood and we look at your urine. If those parameters the kidney is supposed to use are not working, that's when we know you have kidney disease. By the time you begin to get the symptoms Derek was talking about,
yes,
you have kidney failure. Now, kidney failure is maybe what you want me to talk about. That one presents with confusion, headache, body swelling, very weak, you lack appetite, you are not interested in fun things. So that's very late, actually. So it's a spectrum.
I'm actually learning a lot, and I'm completely shocked. You know, we mentioned kidney disease, kidney failure, so I like you to talk about both. So kidney disease, does that mean that someone still has a chance to actually get
kidney disease in its early stages. Kidney affects you in 5 stages. Okay. Stage 1, 2, 3, 4. You heard Derek talk about his brother being in stage 1.
Yeah.
That's highly curable. Stage 3 up to 1, you can do a lot and even reverse it totally. Stage 5, which is kidney failure, what we are going to talk about today, when you need dialysis and kidney transplant, that's when you really feel the symptoms.
I really like how you brought up this whole background, because I believe a lot of us had no idea what we were even hearing: kidney disease, kidney failure. So let's talk a bit about kidney disease. At what stage do I get a diagnosis, and can I just wake up and go to the hospital without any sign or anything?
Yeah, if you are above 40 years, let's say in Uganda, you should always, at least once every year, have a urine and a blood test to make sure your kidneys are well. But statistically speaking, and as happened in the world, is that when we screen everyone for kidney disease, it's not cost effective. But there are those people who are at increased risk.
Okay.
One of the greatest risk factors is high blood pressure. The second one is diabetes, high blood sugar. The third one is actually if you have any chronic disease. The fourth one is if you use a lot of medications, be it natural or whatever. So when you use those things, you are at increased risk. So when you have any of those things I've mentioned above, your age doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You go straight. The fifth risk factor is your age. Our kidneys also grow.
Yeah.
So when you reach 40 years, your kidney function begins to decline. And so after 40 years, you should make sure you always check your kidneys, even if to just know that they are normal.
Yeah.
So those are the risk factors for kidney disease. But by and large, until the kidney reaches about 30% dysfunction out of 100, most people have no symptom. They are walking like anyone else. And even me, I'm a professor of medicine, professor of kidney. I have 5 degrees in the field of kidney, but I can't look at you and know that you have kidney disease.
Yeah. I like very much that you established earlier on in the interview that we have to go for tests regardless of what's happening, because it will sneak up on you. I just love that you brought it up, doctor.
Thank you.
So let's talk about another part of our beliefs. Is it hereditary?
So kidney disease is largely not hereditary, but we have a few forms that are hereditary. The most known hereditary kidney disease is called adult polycystic kidney disease. That one, we know that it has genes. Also in young children, there are few genetic, but if I'm to give a figure to it, only about 5 to 10% of kidney disease is hereditary.
Okay.
Of course, it also runs in families because they share some genes, but by and large, Kidney disease is a result of who we are.
Okay.
What we eat, how we live, and how we have our lifestyles.
That also now brings me to the predominant causes of kidney disease. What are they? Our viewers must know. I like that you brought up lifestyle, so let's dive into those.
So hypertension, top of the list for us, world over, high blood sugar. The other cause of kidney disease is obesity, being overweight. Being overweight overweighs your kidney and you can easily get kidney disease. Overuse of over-the-counter medication. Not taking in enough fluids in the body. That usually leads to what we call kidney stones. Like you had Derek talking about his brother having kidney stones.
Yes.
You are required to drink about, if you're a lady, 2.5 liters a day. And if you're a man, you should take over 3 liters a day of fluids, but mostly water. So if you don't do that, that increases your risk of developing kidney disease. Of course, there are those who acquire it from their parents. And then for us here in Africa, infections. Any kind of infection can lead to kidney disease. Malaria, name it, diarrhea, dysentery, HIV, all those infections, TB, they can lead to kidney disease.
Doctor, let's pick up from there. We are now going to take a commercial break, but please do stay with us. You're watching NTV Medical Matters, supported by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Thank you very much for staying with us. And once again, you are welcome. If you're also just joining us, you are welcome on board. I am Viola Kusasira. You're watching NTV Medical Matters, supported by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And today we are talking about kidney disease, kidney failure, dialysis, and everything surrounding the disease and what you need to know. So you're welcome once again. I have Dr. Robert Kalyesubula, who is a consultant nephrologist as well as head of physiology at Makerere University. So, Doctor, let's continue with Derek's case. We actually had a video case study from one of the patients that you take care of, Derek. He talked about drinking less water and being on dialysis and everything around that. That is the discussion we shall have right now. He's on dialysis for 11 years. At what stage do you believe that kidneys can get healed, and when do you stop dialysis? What happens if you do? Why has he been on it for 11 years and no change?
Thank you very much. Very good questions. I like the way you mentioned the word nephrologist. You were careful. Anyway, I don't know how long it took you to learn it.
Learned it.
Anyway, so remember where we started. The kidney is important in removing water, and our body is 70% water. So when it is not working, whatever you take, you retain. So that's the key to restricting water. If we don't restrict water in people who have kidney failure, now we are talking kidney failure, their kidney function is less than 15%. They will retain that water, and that water would make them sick. It will go in their lungs and stop them from breathing well, which we call pulmonary edema. So water can be very bad for them. It will make their bodies swell. So they will swell. That's why you restrict water. In fact, the rule of thumb is however little urine you put out plus 500 mils is what we allow people with kidney failure to take. If you put out a liter, you can take 1.5. If you put out nothing, you take 500 mils. This is contrary to the 2.5 liters I told you earlier in a healthy person,
yes,
and 3 in a man. So that's why you restrict water. Would retain it because the kidney is not removing it. The kidney uses about 180 liters of blood per day. The blood runs like that so that it cleans it. So when it is not working, if you give it any more water from outside, it will retain it, and then there would be consequences. That's why we restrict water for people on dialysis. And remember, dialysis, in fact, Derek is doing it 2 times a week. Ideally, it should be done 3 times a week. But if it all was good and it wasn't, you need to go to hospital or what, the people in the US, they do it every day. Because it's like the way you pass urine. Can you take 24 hours without passing urine? Probably not. So the kidney now, when we use these machines, they're artificial kidneys. So we use them on those days. So on the days you are not on that machine, the kidney is still not working or it's doing very little, so you don't want to overload it. That's why we restrict the water.
Let's talk more about dialysis. What exactly does the machine do during dialysis, and why is it needed very frequently? I know he goes 2 times a week, and he says he experiences pain as well. So talk about the importance of dialysis and how exactly it happens.
So dialysis is one of the treatments for kidney disease. We have 3 treatments for kidney disease. One of them is dialysis, the other one is a kidney transplant, and then the other one is doing nothing or doing medical management, which is called conservative care. And that's very key because most of our people, you should know that only about 10% of the people who need dialysis can access it. Because even at Mulago and even at Chirudu, you still have to pay for dialysis, although it's highly subsidized. And you don't pay anything less than 400,000 shillings per week. And that's about 1.2 million per month. So I usually say that a medical doctor who earns 1 million would not afford dialysis in Uganda. So that's dialysis. Let's talk about dialysis now. So dialysis is an artificial kidney. We talked about the 5 functions of the kidney: removing water, removing toxins, balancing the minerals, making blood. The dialysis machine does a few things. It removes toxins and balances minerals in your bodies. It doesn't produce blood, but basically it's an artificial kidney. So it's outside. They get your blood using big blood vessels and cannulas, and they take that blood to the machine for about 2 to 4 hours, sometimes 6 hours. And they keep doing what the kidney would do, running the blood. You remember the 180 liters I talked about that your kidney does every day. Here we can do about 400 liters. We use about 200 liters of water for just a session of dialysis to make sure that all the toxins are removed. So it is needed frequently because if you don't do dialysis and you need it, you actually die. It's not an option you can walk away from. It is a lifeline. So when you need dialysis, it means that if your brain dies, gone, you're dead. If your heart dies, gone, you're dead. If your kidneys die, dialysis and kidney transplant comes in to save your life. So you cannot live without it. Once you stop it, then you die. For chronic dialysis, we are talking chronic dialysis. There's acute dialysis, someone was delivering a baby, someone got an accident, and the kidney shut down for a small time, we fix them, you go home. You come to us early, we fix you, you go home. But once you need chronic dialysis, it is your lifeline. That's why even you remember in the times of COVID, I had to go to government and ask these people to get permits to travel. Because if you didn't allow them to travel, they would die. And we lost a lot of them. So dialysis is that machine that does the work of the kidney in our bodies.
Thank you very much, Doctor. That gives us an explanation of what's really happening when you're attached to that machine for all those hours. Let's talk about donation. So who gets to get a donation? What do you require? What does the donor have to have? Please take us through that.
Thank you very much. I heard Derek say some things. Some I would like to correct some from him. You don't have to be born from your mother to get a kidney transplant. Of course, in Uganda, as you know, like the rest of the world, the only person you can be sure about is your mother. Your father might be different. You know what that means, okay?
Yeah, true
you know
story.
Genetics, DNA. I don't want to go into that story. But your father, people from your father's side can definitely give you a kidney. Your half-brothers can give you a kidney. Your half-sisters can give you a kidney. If you are first line, of course the match would not be perfect. We have a match out of 6 or sometimes 12. So if you get 12 out of 12, you are lucky, you have a twin. But whenever you get 3 and above, but if you want to do transplants in Uganda, we are still taking the best. But that should not be misperceived to say that, you can't do transplant. So the transplant is where someone, we get another kidney from another person, and we put it in this person who has kidney disease to help them to live. It's a very big process. I'm just going to break it down. It has about 3 angles. One of them is the recipient, the person going to receive the kidney. He has to be fit, and he has to have enough health to live forward. If you are going to die in 2 years, we don't give you someone's kidney. Okay?
Yeah.
So we should project that you are going to live 10 years and above, because the kidney lasts about 15 years or more. So we don't want to give you a kidney from someone who has sacrificed it and you die with it. So that's one. So the recipient has to be fit. The second thing is the donor. The donor has to be healthy, almost 100%. He has to be of legal age.
Yes.
So if you are below 18 years in Uganda now, for our transplant is 20, you can't donate. Usually we also don't encourage people above 50 years to donate. So the donor has to be fit. We do over 50 tests. We test, do you have 2 kidneys? Most people move around when they have 1 kidney, and they are doing okay. We have no problem with that. But you can't donate 1 kidney if you have 1.
If you have 1, yeah.
So we test that. You have to be fit to donate. Your heart should be okay. All your other organs should be okay. You should not have hypertension, diabetes, cancer, infections. Those big infections you can't treat, like TB. For HIV, yes, but also if you have HIV, you probably can't donate. So the donor has to be fit. So after you go through that process of the transplant, there's psychological preparation through the donor and the person who is going to receive. There are financial implications. You have to pay for the transplant. Although now the government of Uganda is offering it for free, then there are the other aspect is ethics. In a transplant is when we doctors take someone who is healthy and we take an organ out of them. So we have to ensure beyond any reasonable doubt that nothing goes wrong to the person who donates the kidney, because they are saving another life. So you should never at any one time endanger their life. So that is the legal. So you have to go to the medical boards, they have to approve. They have to show that these people are related to you. We want people who are related to each other, because one, they match well, but they are less likely to be abused. People who have money will always try to buy kidneys of those who are poor. So that is always, it's in the Ugandan law, it's wrong. We now have an act, and across the world it's wrong. So people should donate their kidneys altruistically, not expecting anything in return, but out of their goodwill. So those are the processes of the kidney. Of course, once you donate the kidney, then there are the surgical things. The surgeon has to come in, find the right place to put it, but those are the details maybe other surgeons might talk about. So the kidney transplant is really getting someone's kidney and you put it in this person. I won't talk about what we call cadaveric transplants. We don't have them here. That's when people get into accidents and they have decided to donate their organs, and then they have very fast speed. They have a transplant list where people are known to have a blood group. They match this, they bring them together, the other person's kidney takes away. We talk about living related kidney transplants. They should be your relatives.
Thank you very much, Doctor. You know, I'm just really captivated. I almost forgot to let our dear viewers know that you can actually call in and ask Doctor here, the good doctor, questions about kidney disease, chronic kidney disease and kidney failure in Uganda. Please call in and you can answer all your questions in real time. Doctor, let's talk about management. You had mentioned there are 3 ways you can go about this.
Yes.
So the management, as well as the case where the body rejects the kidney. So the 2 things, yeah.
So the case where the body rejects the kidney, that is our worst nightmare as kidney doctors, and we try to avoid it as much as possible. Part of these people think we do too much. Part of that work is to make sure that your kidney doesn't get rejected. So you have to match in the blood group, you have to match on genetics, which we call DNA or HLA, human leukocyte antibody, those things that determine your life. You have to match on those ones, and then you have to take drugs. Because this kidney is not yours, you have to take immunosuppressants, drugs that will stop your soldiers, your immune system, from rejecting the kidney you got from someone else. So those drugs are taken for life. So in case you miss taking those drugs, or in case this transplanted kidney gets a disease, you can get what is called a kidney rejection, and that can be very painful. Yes.
So the management, bring up the management.
So the management of kidney disease depends on the stage. So if the management we're talking about was for kidney failure.
Okay.
But the management of the upstream stages, stage 3 to 1, stage 1 and 2, you do nothing. You encourage people to move around, live healthy lives, don't eat too much meat. You add what stage. If you reach stage 3, which is 60% less kidney function, we have now, in the past we used to struggle. We first have to manage what causes the kidney disease. Diabetic control, blood pressure control, eat well, avoid some foods that increase the workforce to the kidney, like meats, especially animal proteins, fruits that are heavy in potassium, if you are now having kidney disease, regulate the amount of water you are taking, and then we have drugs. We now have very good drugs that actually can reverse and totally cure kidney disease. We have drugs called SGLT2 inhibitors. They are here in Uganda also. So we have a lot now. In fact, I'm happy you've called me. Kidney disease has never been at this stage. We can cure, we can reverse, we can do a lot if you work with the doctors. Yes.
I love that. I love the progress, and we're not having phone calls yet, and we're about to close. So since you're not going to ask, please feel free to go to our social media, hashtag NTV Medical Matters, hashtag NTV Medical Matters at NTV Uganda, and continue the conversation about kidney disease, kidney failure, but I will and prevention, actually very important. I will let the good doctor go, but before he goes, we need to talk about prevention real quick before we leave.
So prevention really is the things we've talked about. The best doctor for kidney disease is yourself. People say you are what you eat.
Yes.
Eating is a very big issue. I won't go into the details because of time, but make sure if your kidneys are not sick, make sure you eat fruits, make sure you eat vegetables, at least on every meal you have. Avoid heavy carbohydrates, sodas, especially packed foods, fast foods, heavy meats. Those things cause a lot of bad problems to the kidney. Don't smoke, don't take alcohol. Those ones we said don't, because they don't have any good in them. Usually they will definitely injure the kidney. And then do exercise.
Yes.
You need to do exercise at least 150 hours every week. That means a minimum of 30 minutes every day. You can walk, you can skip a rope, but make sure you make your body move. And for us, people who work, sitting is equivalent to smoking. Don't sit too long. Stand up sometime. Move around and get some blood. By the way, I've calculated for some people, people sit for 8 hours a day. And if you calculate it in the year, it's 112 days of sitting. And when you sit, that's not how God made us. You know, we were created to go and get fruits, move around. So sitting is actually a very big risk factor for non-communicable diseases, one of which is kidney disease. So that is not known to many people. You sit in the car, you are in the jam, you come to office, you sit, at lunch you are sitting, you go home, you watch TV. Sitting is also not very good.
It's terrible.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Doctor. We've definitely come to the end of today's show. It's really been a pleasure having you, dear viewer, and we hope to have this conversation sometime again in the future. Kidney disease really is very important, and I know we need to talk about it again. So this is Dr. Robert Kaliesula, who is the consultant nephrologist, as well as head of physiology department at Makerere University. Thank you very much once again. It's been really good having you. And now we shall just let you go. It's NTV Medical Matters. We are supported by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. I am Viola Xasia. Until next time, stay healthy.